So whereas these freight forwarders, they handle the transportations, and in some cases they also handle the storage of goods. Custom broker is a licensed person who helps business to get the goods through the customs when they import or export. So they manage the freight consolidation, then they'll manage the route planning and also the booking cargo space. Hello dear student, welcome to the session. My name is Kripamiti, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidyashram First Gate College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So we are discussing logistics and supply chain management of 4th semester BBA. So the last unit that we have, it is all about the transportation. So the transportation, especially here, it is related to the EXIM, that is how to manage the transportations in the case of export and the import. So here the topics that we are going to study under this unit, it is the transportations, that the key aspect of EXIM, freight forwarders, then the responsibilities of freight forwarders, then what is custom brokers and what is custom clearance, and then bulk load handling and the transshipment, and then last we have it is the cold chain logistics and the liquid logistics. So here, the transportation and brief introduction. So the EXIM, especially it is the export and import, freight forwarders and the custom brokers are essential in intermediaries in international trade that ensures the seamless movement of goods and services across the borders, especially in the case of international trade. So that is the export and import. So there comes the two important parties involved to handle the transportations, so that we have it is the freight forwarders and then the custom brokers. So these two parties plays an important role in EXIM, that is in the international trade. So the freight forwarders, they manage the logistics, transport and in some cases storage of goods, while custom brokers, they specialized in regulatory framework or the regulatory compliances like the tariff calculations and the clearing the goods through the customs authorities. So whereas these freight forwarders, they handle the transportations and in some cases they also handle the storage of goods, that is during the transit, whereas the custom brokers, they are specialized, they do the special work that is related to the regulatory framework or the regulatory compliances, for example, the tariff calculations and also what are the procedures that is involved in the custom department. So these custom brokers, they'll do or they are specialized in managing the work in these areas. So what are the key aspects of EXIM? Freight forwarders. So the logistic and transportation. So the main work or the main areas of the freight forwarders, it is to manage the logistics and the transportation. So they act as an agent between the supplier or the shipper and then the carriers. So organizing the cargo transport via air, sea or the land. So these freight forwarders, especially they are handles the transportations. So they handles the or they'll act as an agent between the shipper and the carrier, handling all the kinds of cargo, especially transported through the air or the sea or the land. And then the coordinations. So they manage the freight consolidation, then they'll manage the route planning and also the booking cargo space. So they'll manage the freight consolidation, that is consolidating the cargoes or the freight, and also the booking of the cargo space. Suppose one cargo it is moving, so what are the space that is needed for the one particular producer? So that all they will be coordinating, and also they will doing the plans relating to the route selections. So which is the route, the best route to reach that destinations. So all that they will be freight forwarders, they will be doing all this work. And then the documentation. So they handle the transportation documents such as bill of landing and insurance forms. So they also handles the certain documents that is related to the EXIMs, for example, the bill of landing or any kind of insurance form. So these documents are handled by the freight forwarders. Then what are the responsibilities of a freight forwarder? So what are the responsibility that they have towards EXIM? So one, it is organizing the best transport method. So that is, they will be selecting which is the best transport method for the type of goods that they are transporting. Whether they are choosing air, Suppose if it is any emergency or any high value type of goods, so they might select the air transportation. Suppose if it is any heavy or the bulk goods, so then they'll go for the sea transportation. So they will organize which is the best transportation method or the mode to use for the movement of any goods. And in booking the carriers for your shipment, so they also look after the booking of the cargo or the carriers for the shipment based on the type of goods that they are transporting or that they are exporting or importing. So what is the best the carriers they need to have, so that also will be looked after by the freight forwarders. Then they have managing and consolidating the smaller shipment into the larger one. So they'll also manage and consolidate. Suppose any small size of shipment it is there, so that will be, or the many consignment from the different producers, that will be combined into one shipment. The cost will be divided among the various producers. So that means they'll manage the consolidating smaller shipment into the larger one. Then preparing and handling the necessary documents. For example, the documents of bill of landing or any kind of insurance document. All these documents will be handled by the freight forwarders. And then arranging the insurance for the cargo. So whatever the type of cargo that they are using, so they also arrange they'll also take the insurance for those cargo, for example, to manage any future risk. If it is that cargo, if it has any future risk, to have a cover with that, they'll also handle the insurance for that cargo. Then tracking the shipment and providing the updates. So these freight forwarders, they'll also keep on checking on the real-time locations or the tracking of those shipment, where it is traveling, what is the condition of that shipment. All that will be tracked and that will be updated to the concerned producers or the concerned exporters or importers. And then coordinating the warehousing if it needed. Suppose if it is any storage is needed in transit, suppose they are transferring to any long distances, in between or during the transit, if there is any warehouse facilities or the storage facilities required, that also will be handled by the freight forwarders. Next that we have it is the customs brokers. So a custom broker is a licensed person who helps business to get the goods through the customs when they import or export. So that means whenever an import or export transactions or the trade takes place, there are number of custom duties or the custom regulatory that has to be cleared. So there is a party or the person who is engaged in clearing or engaged in managing all that regulatory framework. So that we call it as a customs brokers. So they make sure that shipment follow all the rules and the taxes and duties in the destination's country. So it is the responsibility of a custom brokers to handle all the regulatory framework or the custom duties or the payment of any tax when that shipment arises the destination country, when that ship arises into another country. So that is the person or the body that is behind that. It is the customs brokers. So what are the responsibility of a custom brokers that they have? So one, it is filing the necessary customs documentations with the relevant authorities. So they have to file relevant documents with the authorities relating to the export or the import of goods. Then classifying the goods for the correct tariff and duties while harmonizing the system codes. So they have to classify the goods to which goods has what is the rate of tariff they have to pay. So all that will be categorized, and what are the duties to harmonize the system codes. So what are the system that they have, how to follow all that system. So it is all handled by the custom brokers. And then calculating the duties, for example, the tariff duties or the any import duties, and also the taxes and any other applicable fees. Suppose if there is any import is happening, whatever the duties that they have to pay when they arrive in that importing nations. So all that duties has to be cleared, and also all the taxes that has to be cleared. So it is all the work of seeing all that. It is the work of the customs brokers. So ensuring the goods comply with all the customs regulations, whatever the customs regulations that authority has. So they have to make sure that whatever the goods they are importing, all that goods, all that transactions will comply or will follow all the duties. Then submitting the payments to the customs authorities on behalf of the importers. So it is the custom brokers who makes the payment on behalf of the importers to the customs authorities. Then handling the inspection, permits and quarantine the requirement. So they have to, in the port, whatever the customs inspections happens, maybe in the port terminals or even in the airport. So whatever the custom inspections happens, so it is the duty of the custom brokers to, whatever the requirement they have or the authorities they have to fulfill all the requirement. Then liaising with the customs agencies to resolve any issues is a critical functions performed by the licensed custom brokers or the custom house agent. Suppose if it is any importer or if he is facing any problems in the customs authorities, so it is the duty of custom brokers to comply or to solve all that critical issues faced by the importer during the customs authorities. So these are all the responsibilities that custom brokers they have when there is a importing of goods happens. Then the customs clearance. So the custom clearance is the mandatory process of obtaining the authorizations from the government authorities to move goods into or out of the country. So the custom clearance, it is an authority given by the government to any particular trader where he get the permit to move the goods, whether he is moving out of the country or he is getting any goods from other country to his country. So the custom clearance, it is an authority given by the government for any business or for any traders to move out or to move in any particular goods or the services. So it involves some submitting required documentation, for example, the invoice or the packing list, then the permits. So he has to, under the custom clearance, they have to clear certain document. For example, the invoice or the packing list and also the permission list. So inspecting the goods and paying the applicable duties and taxes. So they have to give this all the detailed document relating to the inspecting of the goods or paying any applicable duties. So they have to submit all the documents if they have to get the customs clearance. So this procedure ensures the compliances with the local laws and is crucial for international trade. So this custom clearance, it is crucial for to do any international business, be it any export or import. It is very important to have that custom clearance from the concerned authorities. Then what are the key aspects that we have of the custom clearance? So one, it is the documentation. So the key document includes the commercial invoice, then packing list, then airway bill or bill of lading, then the certificate of origin and import or the export license. So there are certain important documents that has to be submitted before importing or exporting the goods. So which are those documents? So one, it is the commercial invoice, then the packing list, then the airway bill or the bill of landing, then the certificate of origin or the import or the export license, that whatever the license the traders has got. So all that document has to be submitted to get the customs clearance. So then the process steps. So the documents are submitted, then the goods are inspected if it is required, then the duties are assessed and the payment is made to receive the clearance for the shipment release. So that means after the submission of the document, whatever the goods they are trading, all that goods has to be inspected if it is necessary, and also whatever the necessary duties that has to be paid, and then they'll receive a clearance certificate to go for the shipment release. So then responsible parties. So while importer or exporters can handle this, if it is frequently managed by the specialized custom brokers or the freight forwarders to ensure the compliances. So the responsible parties either the exporter or importer themselves, they can handle all these procedure, or there is other brokers like the freight forwarders and the custom clearance who they can go with all these customs clearance, all these they can go with to complete or to make sure that all these procedures are followed. So they also can act as an agent of the exporters or importers. Then what are the key aspect of the custom clearance? It is the timeline. So the clearance can take from a few hours to several days depending on the accuracy of the documentations and the nature of the goods and the country's regulations. So what is the timeline that is required to clear or to get this clearance certificate? So either it can depend on certain aspect. So that means the clearance can take a few days or it can take a longer days. So depending upon the what type of the documentations, whether they have provided all the clear document, and then depending upon the any accuracies, the kind of accuracy that documents are maintaining, and the nature of the goods, and from where that country, what type of the regulations that country is having, who is involved in the trading, so what type of regulations that they're having. So it all, based on all these aspects, the timeline of these clearances is dependent. Then the failure consequences. Suppose if the custom clearance, if it is not cleared, so what are the consequences that they have? So the incorrect paperwork or the missing informations can lead to delays or the penalties or the seizure of goods. So that means if the improper documents are submitted or very misleading informations are given, or if it is any goods, if it is not in a after inspecting, if it is not in a accordance with the authorities, then they can face penalties, or it can lead to the delays, and also sometimes the custom department, they can also seize the goods, whatever it is trading, so they can also seize that goods. So that is the failure consequences. If they are not meeting with all these regulatory framework, what are the consequences they might face? So then we have the bulk load handling and the transshipment. So here first we'll see what is bulk load handling. So the bulk cargo refers to the commodities that are transported in large unpacked quantities, typically in loose or the granule or the dry or the liquid form, directly loaded into a ship's hold or tank or specialized containers. So these bulk load, especially bulk cargo, that is used for those commodities which are transported in an unpacked state, especially in the loose or the granule or the liquid form. So directly that goods or that cargo will be loaded to the ship or the tank or the specialized container. So that we call it as a bulk load handling. So then we have the transshipment. So the transshipment is the process of unloading the goods or the containers at a midpoint or hub and loading them into a different vessel or the aircraft or the train or the truck to continue the journey to a final destination. So the transshipment, what happens? So it is the process of unloading in a midway journey. For example, from point A, if the goods are transporting to the point C. So in between, in the point B, they will be changing the containers or the mode of transportation. So that whatever the unloading happens in this midpoint, so that we call it as a transshipment. So it is the process of unloading the goods or containers at a midpoint or at a hub and loading them into a different vessels, maybe a air cargo or the ship or any truck to continue their journey to reach that final destination. So that we call it as a transshipment. So next topic that we have, it is the cold chains logistic. So usually in the supply chain, there is a different categories of the chains that has to be used. For example, based on the nature of the goods, for example, the perishable kind of goods, the meat or the vegetables or the fruits. So they are all of the perishable condition. They have to be managed with the specialized containers or the specialized storage facilities. So the kind of logistic that is used to manage all that, so that we have it as the cold chain logistic. So the cold chain logistic is a supply chain management system that uses specialized cooling technology and is designed exclusively for temperature sensitive products such as perishable goods or the medicines or the vaccines or the chemicals and more. Suppose any perishable type of goods are there, or any medicines or the vaccines or any chemicals are these other type of goods are there, they have to be managed or handled with the specialized features. For example, the temperature sensitive storage or the containers, and then they have to use a certain cooling technology to store these goods in order to maintain them in a proper condition till it is used. So whatever the logistic is used to handle these type of goods, so that we call it as a cold chain logistic. So what are the component of cold chain logistic that we have? So that is, what are the special kind of logistic that is used to manage these type of goods? So one, it is the cold storage rooms and the warehouses. They need to use the specialized warehouses where they have these cold storage facilities. Then the temperature controlled packaging. So the packaging, the type of packaging they are doing, it has to be temperature controlled packaging. Then the transportation modes with the cooling units. So the whatever the mode of transportation that we are using, the truck or any type of cargo, that they have to have the cooling units to manage the quality of these goods. And then the quality assurance, the type of logistic that they use, they have to make sure that the quality of that goods will be maintained till it is reached. So then we have it is the liquid logistics. So the liquid logistic is a specialized supply chain sector focused on the safe, compliant and efficient transport of bulk liquid, including the chemical, food grade product and the oil. So the liquid logistic, it is the specialized supply chain sectors. So it is one specialized part of the supply chain where this logistic it is used especially for the transportations of any liquid form of goods, for example the gas or the chemicals, and also the food grade product and the oil. So the liquid form of goods or the semi-liquid form of goods, to transport that, the kind of logistic that they use, that we call it as a liquid logistic. So it requires a specialized handling like ISO used or the ISO marked tank, then the flexi tanks or the tankers, offering a cost saving and also high volume transportation compared to the solid goods. So here the type of tank that will be in the volume. So managing the cost that is involved in transporting these type of goods. So the key services include, it is 24/7 services, and also the continuous tracking will be there, and the multimodal transport. That means they will be combining or they will be integrating the different mode of transportations for transporting these liquid form of goods. And then hazardous materials management. They also, it is the type of goods that is very harmful to the environment if it is got leaked or if it is some kind of accident happens. So to manage that, they have to have a specialized conditions or the specialized services to manage these goods. So they will have this hazardous material management to manage these type of goods. So this kind of logistic that we call it as the liquid logistic. Next that we have it is the rail logistic. So the rail logistic refers to the planning, management and execution of transporting goods via railway network, forming a key part of supply chain management for long distance and bulk freight. So here, rail logistic, it is the planning, the management and execution of transporting the goods, especially the mode of rail or the railway network, forming a key part of a supply chain management. So that means your railway, using of railway mode of transportations, it is an integral part of the supply chain where it provides the transportations for the bulk or the heavy kind of goods, for example, iron or the coal or these type of heavy goods. So that will be transported usually through the railway cargoes. So here, so it is the key part of supply chain management. Usually it is suitable for the long distance transportation. So it involves coordinating the rail car loading, then scheduling and intermodal transfer, then offering a cost-effective and environmentally sustainable alternatives to road transport for heavy and the bulk materials. So when compared to the road transport, there is a railway mode of transport. It is one sustainable way of the transportations, and also it is specially used for the heavy and the bulk type of goods. So that is one important models of the modes of the transportations that we have, it is in the logistic. So this is all about the different types of logistic that we have. It is the liquid logistic or the railway logistic or the cold chain logistic. So this is all about your fourth unit. So that is what is the freight forwarders, their responsibility, then the custom brokers and their responsibility, and then what is the bulk shipment and the transshipment, and finally we have the different types of logistic. So that is the cold chain, then the liquid logistics and the railway logistics. I hope you all understood the subjects. Thank you.